When you were basing your decisions before on other people having to agree with them, did that mean that you would, on some occasions, make decisions that necessarily you didn't particularly agree with?
Yeah, yes, of course. And also when you're working for big corporations, sometimes you have the knowledge. I mean, sometimes you know that what you're going to do is not going to work or is going against your beliefs. But you have to follow instructions from your boss or from corporate headquarters. Sometimes you perfectly know that something else would work better in your country, but you have been instructed to work differently. Again, that's part of life. If you work for a big corporation, you have to accept the rules. And if I think one of my biggest problem and difficulty, and I think it's the case for a lot of people, you are staying in a job for the wrong reasons. You think they are the right one. Salary, paycheck, you have to feed your family, you have to pay your mortgage. Valid reasons, huh? But all those reasons are blocking you from doing something else. And having been, and my wife told me for many years, maybe for the past 4 years before I lost my job, you should change. You are not happy. And I was said, yeah, but I have a job. My kids are going to university. We have to pay for that. Blah blah blah. Valid reasons, but wrong reasons to stay. And I think that I heard that phrase from someone. To be fired was the best decision I never made, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously all those things. Like you say, they're still real. You still have home to pay for. You still have a family to support. So what changed? Are you still doing those things?
Well, I think I took or maybe the environment, or because maybe it's my state of mind that was pushing me in a direction. But I was 49 when I lost my job and started to apply to job positions. And of course, I had to define what I wanted to do and not wanted to do, like I said. So I said, okay, I'm going to look, in those sectors. And I applied to many positions in a period of 3-4 months, having maybe 2 or 3 interviews, and that didn't go further. And at one point I said, it's a dead end. Maybe I should do something else. And it's sometimes also you bring luck, or you bring you meet people that might trigger something. And for me, 2 people I talked to. One who said, why don't you set up your own business in the moving industry? I used to come from the moving industry, and I said, well, no way, investments are high, you need a warehouse, you need trucks, and I don't have the enough cash to do that. Then I met another guy who said, oh, do you want, I have money to invest, do you want to set up a relocation business with me, because you were you know the business, and maybe we can work together. And I came back home and I said, well, now I know I want to set up my relocation business. I don't want to work with this guy, but thanks for him to. And I think those 2 people coming from different environments just helped me to make the decision.
So you had an idea at the back of your mind, didn't you?
Yeah.
And they just helped you kind of fit the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together.
Yeah, and it all started with the first day with my transition coach, where I did. I don't remember the test, but you have those tests that you do to see who you are, and so I did the test, and then we had the debrief. And the first thing she said, Stéphane, you might not like what I'm going to say, but the job you were doing was perfect for you. And I told her, yes, I agree. I always love the mobility industry. I didn't like the past 4 years, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it stayed in the back of my mind until I made the decision to set up my own business.
That's interesting.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
So when you think back now to your kind of employed period of life, that sort of corporate setup and all the rest of it, what summary would you give me? What do you think characterizes that period of your working life?
I think it's a kind of roller coaster, with great times and really bad times. I work with fantastic people in my last job. My team in Luxembourg was just great, and we are still in contact. We have a WhatsApp group, and you know, they are friends, and I really enjoyed working with them. But I also had bad periods. What I've realized, and now I'm not afraid to talk about it. I went through a burnout. I hid it to everybody, and I think I hid it to myself as well. I tell the story, and I just told my wife maybe 2 years ago that one day I came back from home and was driving. It was maybe 11 p.m. And then I started to push on a clutch and you know, going faster and faster and faster. And it went through my mind that, you know, I could end it right away. And luckily I had, it was a shock, and I you know, I just stopped on the side and stayed here for maybe, you know, half an hour, just breathing but I'm not afraid to talk about it now, because so many people go through this situation, sure. Or because they are being harassed, or because they have problems, but they should reach out, they should talk, because a lot of people think that their family, you know, their spouse wouldn't understand, but in reality, they can understand, and maybe they are the first one who saw you, you know, going down and down and down and trying to talk you out of it, but you were not ready to listen. So before reaching that point, you should talk, and you should, you know, meet people. And what I find interesting in the, you know, since the pandemic, is that you have people, especially through those using Zoom and Teams and whatever, it helped people being able to talk more. I don't know if it's my feeling, but for me, I think like, I've been able to talk to people around the world, and people talking about, you know, their experience, what they went through, losing their job. And I think that sharing my experience with people going through this situation now, losing a job, being on the verge of a burnout, to understand that they are not alone, and that they can, you know, find help and solution, and that there is a bright light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow, I mean, you're talking very freely about that now, which is sort of fantastic. And you know, it doesn't sound like, as you're talking about it, that it's really kind of getting on top of you. Did that openness come as part of the whole work you did on yourself as part of that transition process, or was that something separate?
I think it has been an ongoing process. So the lady I work with, she gave me the keys, but I had to open the doors. And sure. The more I was able to open the door, you know, it's like if I was in a cellar and you had several sets of doors, and until you are able to get out in the open, in the garden, in the forest, whatever. But I'm opening all those new doors and discovering new things. And I think the more you move forward in a positive way, the more positive you can be. Of course, like everybody else, you have up and downs. That's part of life. Sure. But you have to keep in mind that you know, you always have something positive in some bad experience. And I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through you know, the whole process. Sometimes I just tell myself, well, I should have been an entrepreneur, 10, 20 years ago. Well, I'm entrepreneur at 50 plus, and it's fun. And I have many years to start new business and to develop the one I have.
Yeah, yes. But who knows what kind of entrepreneur any of us would have been if we tried to do it when we were 20. Right? Yeah. So I think for some people, that's probably the perfect move. Maybe for us, it just isn't.
Just on the topic, for me to be an entrepreneur at 50 was fantastic because I had the experience. So I didn't do a lot of the mistakes that you do when you are young and you don't have any experience in terms of management, accounting, whatever. And I was able to move faster than if I had started at 20.